Bold takes.
If they don't make it to the finals, then this might be one of the biggest L's in NBA history.
Hot topics.
All right, well, I want to give you an apology. Tyrese Halliburton may have proved me wrong.
The best analysis.
But Jokic, he might be the best player in the league this season. He really might be the MVP.
This is the Fullcourt Report.
And we're back.
Derby.
Feels good.
Season 2, baby.
You know, it's been a while. Been a couple of years, you know. But we're back. Back to talk some hoops. Myself, Jorie, Justin, and Tobe. How you fellas doing?
We're doing great.
Feeling good. Getting ready to talk some ball. It's been at least a couple years. I don't even remember the last season that we did.
The last season we did, Milwaukee won a championship.
Wow.
So
2021.
Yeah, a lot has happened. This guy behind me, he has a championship now. I don't think either of your teams have rings.
This team is closing in on one right here.
And then Toby's team is, I don't know what they're doing.
2032. 2032, baby.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you have anything you want to say before we get into what we have on the rundown here. Anything? Anything?
Nah, man, I'm ready to get her moving.
Shout out to the WNBA. They've made waves since we last talked ball, so maybe we'll have some segments about them in the future.
Hell yeah. Yeah, the WNBA All-Star game was yesterday. Team All-Star won. They beat the USA national team.
Yeah, not a good sign. Not a good sign.
No, not at all. But hey, that's why we play the games, I guess. That is why we play the games.
It's an exhibition at the end of the day.
Yeah, just getting some reps in. Probably the best team they'll play, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
So, who knows? All right, well, let's just jump right into it, boys. It's been a pretty crazy offseason, I guess, depending on who you ask. Some big names have moved. Some under-the-radar guys have switched teams that might make an impact. You know, some guys re-signed with their teams who may have had one foot out the door, 1 foot in. But I guess my first question to you guys, what do you think the best offseason move has been? And I guess we'll start with you, Justin.
A couple moves that the Knicks made. What an offseason. What an offseason by my New York Knicks. What an offseason. The OG re-signing, gotta love it. Really, that was before the Macau trade. So I needed that OG deal to get done. Then we made our little Macau Bridges deal. Stole Brooklyn's best player.
You didn't steal nothing.
And Jalen Brunson, our savior, that little pay cut, bro. A little pay cut, helping us out in the future. I'm really excited.
So the question was, which was the best offseason move?
Any of those moves, any of the moves, Knicks moves.
Any of those moves were better than any other move in the league, is what you're saying.
I mean, in my opinion.
I think this is a clear-cut answer. And I hate to admit it, but I think it was the 76ers getting Paul George. I think that was the best move in the offseason because I think they were just that one piece away. I think as long as they could stay healthy, because I feel like they're an old-ass team, they probably have the best shot, preseason odds to make it through.
That's a bold statement, Toby.
I don't think so. I don't think it is.
Team right across the street might have a little bit of a better chance.
I don't think so. I would get the Sixers over the Knicks at this point in time.
Interesting.
Time will tell.
Well, I wanna ask you this, Justin, since you said all the Knicks moves. What do you think? I think it really comes down to two moves, in my opinion, for New York. At least I think I have one other move I think that that might be able to top you. But do you think McHale going to New York was the better move, or do you think re-signing Anunoby will make the bigger impact, I guess?
That Mikal Bridges trade kind of just hit everybody out of nowhere. I don't know. I don't think I was expecting that at all. He was probably one of the last options, like trade rumor options, that I would have assumed would have been the deal that got done. So
Makes
I
sense, though.
would probably say OG, because that was like priority number one. Let's get this guy back on the team. So I would probably say OG.
I don't know. I think Bridges is going to have a higher impact on the Knicks.
He might. I mean, in my eyes, they're pretty similar players, both defensive oriented, but they got the jumper, they got the shooters, they're like that. So I feel like it's like OG guards the one guy, and then guy needs a rest. You got OG 2.0 right behind him. Like,
Right
it's good
behind
to
him.
go.
So you think he's coming off the bench?
Well, I don't know. The Nova Knicks, they might have to start him. They might force that guy OG to the
You
bench.
got to start him. You got to start him.
I think if I had to guess, it's going to be Brunson. I think McHale, you play him at the 2. You play OG at the 3. You play Randall at the 4, and you get Mitch at the 5. If I had
That would probably make the most sense.
if I was Tibbs, I think defensively,
We could really use that little Dante DiVincenzo spark plug. Come off the bench, give you a nice little 10, 15.
Yeah, and campaign.
Oh,
This
let's
guy
not
hates
talk about that guy
campaign.
campaign. Let's not talk about campaign.
Why do you hate him?
Tyler Kolek's going to play over him anyway. Our second round draft pick. He's playing over the guy anyway. He apparently everybody loves him from the summer league. That guy Tyler Kolek. The Knicks are loving his summer league play.
All right, we'll see.
he's just a fun guy to watch. Lefty,
Yeah.
good ball handling, fun playmaker. So, but I guess ironically, I think a player that the Knicks lost is maybe competing for one of the best moves, and it kind of is in tandem with another player, and that is Isaiah Hartenstein and Alex Caruso to the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah.
I think.
You think that's the best move?
I think because of what OKC accomplished last season, SGA being an MVP candidate, Chet Holmgren in his first season showcasing what he did, Jalen Williams taking a leap. So they have like their young core, but they obviously showed that they were ready to win now. And I think getting players like Caruso, who had won a championship when he was in LA, and Hartenstein, who, he's had his fair share of playoff, highs and lows, I guess. But I feel like getting those two in town with that young core, and I feel like they fit that team well. So I think, I think that they're going to be competing for a title next season.
Didn't Caruso used to play on OKC like way back in the day?
He might have been on their G League team, maybe.
I feel like as long as I can remember, he was with LA, and then obviously the Bulls most recently. Yeah. But
that's crazy. I didn't think of that. That's like that kind of flew under the radar. Those two pickups.
I think iHeart is a great pickup for the Thunder. I think he just like his work ethic and just the rebounding and that weird little offensive, that little close game floater that he's got. I think that's like a nice. It works well with what they have in OKC.
Yeah, no, I think him being like a backup center, because he was starting a lot for the Knicks in the playoffs this past year with Mitch going down and dealing with injuries, but I feel like him being like their backup center is going to be like it's going to be really good because
they're super deep.
Yeah.
Super deep. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and then you know you got to in this day and age you got to strike when the iron's hot. You know they haven't really had to pay any of their young guys other than SGA yet, so you may as well throw. Everyone's like, "Oh, you overpaid for Hartenstein," and I'm like, I don't know. If you have the money, you may as well give it to him. Like, I don't know. I just think it's funny.
They took him from the Knicks. He would have stayed a New York Knick if they didn't offer him all that money.
Yep. So yeah, you got to do what you got to do. Um, I guess one other move, I wouldn't say it's the best move of the offseason, but I think it's going to make an impact, is Kentavious Caldwell-Pope to the Orlando Magic.
Mm-hmm.
As
Yeah.
someone who watched him play, you know, with the Nuggets win a championship in 2023, I feel like he is one of the best defenders in the NBA, and the Magic already have a really good defensive infrastructure, I guess. Jalen Suggs, I think he was on the all defensive team or one of them this past season. Franz Wagner's a really solid defender. So, I mean, they just have like a really good young core. Paolo, obviously. And then I think adding him, who's like a veteran, a 3-and-D guy. He's won 2 championships. And I think one of their more pressing issues last year was shooting. So you get a guy who's one of the better shooters in the NBA. You slot him in the starting lineup. You're not going to really miss a beat defensively. And I think, yeah, man, I think that's the Magic. They're going to be
You
a
think
tough
that's going to
team
push
to
them
beat.
over the edge?
Yeah, I don't know. That's the East. It's going to be a very interesting battle next year, especially if everyone can stay healthy. Because obviously you have Boston coming off a title, and it's hard to go back to back. But I mean, they're bringing back everybody, so you know the continuity is there with them. New York got a lot better, in my opinion. Milwaukee is an interesting team. You know, is Dame gonna have a? You know, is he still gonna be Dame? Can Giannis stay healthy?
Yeah.
Can they fix their defense? Stuff like that. Indiana, who just made the conference finals, you know, I mean, they're not going away. And then, like you mentioned, Toby, Philly with Paul George now. So I don't know, man. It's gonna be crazy next year, and I'm excited to watch. I think the East, like, there's probably like 6 teams, maybe if you add Cleveland too, 7 teams that are like legitimately probably could win a playoff series, if not more. So it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. All right. Anything else? Anything? Any other moves you guys have, or you guys ready to move on?
Yeah, let's get her in.
You know, as we just mentioned, a lot of these moves, you know, are going to impact the standings, stuff like that. So, which team do you think will take a leap forward? And I kind of left this kind of open ended. You can kind of answer it how you want, but you know, however you view a leap forward, it can mean, you know, just their record, how they perform in the playoffs, whatever the case may be. But I guess which team do you think can take, you know, the biggest leap forward next year?
Why don't you start her off, Toby?
All right. So I said I think the Sacramento Kings are going to be a good team next year. I think last year they were kind of like this, especially last year they were disappointing. Like, you know, a lot of people had higher standards for them, but they just got DeRozan. I think De'Aaron Fox and DeRozan is going to be a crazy duo with Sabonis. De'Aaron Fox has gotten better like pretty much every single year he's been in the league. And, you know, I'm a big Mike Brown guy. That guy's tough.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I really liked DeMar DeRozan to the Kings. Comes back home to California. Guy's gonna be, you know, big chilling with the squad, you know, the hometown squad. And I think they're gonna be looking good. But for me, the Wizards, there's only up from what the Wizards looked like last year. There's only up. So they got a nice little roster. They got a nice little roster. Tyus Jones, Jordan Poole. If it was up to me, probably put Sadiq Bey at the 3. And then with the summer league, Alex Sarr is not looking good. So
Yeah.
if they decide to ignore what's been going on in summer league and make the decision that he's not a bozo, I think they should start Alex Sarr at the 4. But if not, they have Kuzma, and totally forgot they have Marvin Bagley too. So they have a nice depth at the wings because they also have Kispert for the 3, and they have Jonas Valanciunas at center now.
Mhm.
Made that offseason little trade. They got Jonas Valanciunas. So
That's nice.
on paper, player wise, they got a solid team to at least get 30 wins, 35 wins, better than last year.
Yeah, no, they're an interesting team. And Bilal Koulibaly, who was also there. I think he's a rookie last year. He was Wemby's teammate when they were playing in France before they got drafted. He's another guy. So, yeah, man, I don't know. That's an interesting thing to look at, what their starting lineup is going to be. You mentioned Alex Sarr in his summer league. Like, I don't know. I mean, we'll talk about summer league a little bit later, but sometimes you don't want to put too much stock into it, but other times you might want to be like, damn, bro, what, 15 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It just looks bad, but no, definitely those 2 teams. The team I wrote down was Houston.
Ooh.
I think I just feel like they were trending in the right direction last year, and then Şengün got hurt near the end of the season, and I don't think he finished the season. But they were 41-41 last year. They missed the play-in. They were like the 11th seed, so they just missed it. But I mean, they have a really good young core. I mean, they got Jalen Green, they got Alperen Şengün, Jabari Smith Jr. They just drafted Reed Shepherd from Kentucky, who has been playing, in summer league. Like I just said, you don't want to put too much stock into it, but he's having a good summer league. And then they drafted Amen Thompson's last year. So, I mean, they have a really good young core, but they also have a good mixture of veterans with Dylan Brooks, Fred VanVleet, and, Ime Udoka. Say what you want about Ime Udoka, but, in my opinion, he's a great coach. He got the Celtics to a finals in 2022, so I feel like he's kind of like a no-nonsense guy, at least when it comes to, coaching basketball. But
maybe other organizational activities.
yeah,
Maybe not
but
something
I feel like he's a good fit for that culture. I feel like he's, definitely gonna help them take another step forward next year. And I feel like there's some teams in the Western Conference that are kind of liable to take a leap back, which we might talk about in a second here. But so yeah, I feel like Houston. I feel like they're gonna take that leap forward, and I'm excited for what they could achieve next year. I would like to see that team kind of get into the playoffs. I feel like we've seen that a lot recently with like young teams just taking a big leap. Like, last year, obviously the Thunder, the Timberwolves with Ant-Man. So, if it's there for the grabbing. If they want to get to the playoffs, I think they can do it this season.
Yeah, I
They
agree.
haven't made the playoffs since Harden was there. Is that true?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they've had like top 5 picks like the past however many drafts. So it's been a little rough in Houston, but like I said, I think they can get back to the playoffs this year.
So I'm gonna do my part 2 for the leap forward. You were talking about our man Udoka, another former Rockets coach. Steven Silas is the assistant coach to JB Bickerstaff in Detroit. And honestly, that those two coaches together with the Detroit roster, it's very similar to Bickerstaff's situation in Cleveland with Donovan Mitchell and Cade Cunningham now in Detroit. If he could, in my opinion, if he could get Cade Cunningham into more of a, like, I don't want to say true point guard, not like a Chris Paul type of guy, but if he was more of a, passer, more of a facilitator, I feel like a lineup of Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Asar Thompson, Toby at the 4, and then Jalen Duren at the 5, bro. That's a dog lineup. Other than Tobias Harris, that guy's he's just kind of there, but that's a dog lineup. And then they still have Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Isaiah Stewart, and they just drafted Ron Holland.
That was actually going to be my second pick too.
Yeah,
I think. And they just re-signed Cade Cunningham to like a 5-year deal.
I feel like the last time we did a segment like this in season 1, I might have said the same thing about the Pistons, saying that I think they're going to take a step forward, and then they just didn't. So let's see it this year, Detroit. Prove me right, please.
All right, I think I'm back. I don't know what happened.
What up, Jorie?
I think I just like knocked out my microphone. Everything just shut off on me, but thanks for holding down the fort.
Yeah, we kept her moving.
You gotta play one of those noises.
Yeah.
All right, well.
It's not working.
Oh. How about now?
Yeah, there we go.
Well, I mean, I only wrote down Houston. That was like my one team. I'm really like looking at the standings and trying to figure out like who would even be able to take a leap forward. I was really the only team I could come up with. I mean, if you look at a team like San Antonio, I think they're going to take strides next year with Wemby in year 2. I mean, I don't know. That's crazy. Like, Wembanyama is in the NBA now, That's like...
Yeah, last time we talked, he was still in France, bro.
Yeah, like I don't know. I'm sure we'll, in future episodes, talk about him and, him being the GOAT at some point.
Before we move on to, our next segment, if Chris Paul can make DeAndre Jordan an all NBA first team member, he's about to make Wembanyama the greatest center to ever live, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Chris Paul's like 40 years old.
Hey, man,
he's not the same player that he once was.
He's like a floor general, he gives everyone the attribute boosts. Yeah. So
I got to give you guys a dark horse. This team might be really good, I feel like, or they might be like they were last year, and I hate to say it, but I think the Memphis Grizzlies could have a much better year, especially with the full year of Ja, as long as he doesn't have any gun issues.
Yeah, I actually completely forgot about the Grizzlies.
Yeah, no, seriously, and I kind of want to save the Grizzlies for later because I think at some point I'll probably talk about them in a sec. But
all right,
no, I kind of agree with you, Toby. All right, well, yeah. So I guess we can go on to the opposite side of the spectrum. We talked about Paul George leaving. I talked about KCP leaving Denver, Brooklyn. Toby, I mean, what are you doing over there?
Just I don't know. Don't ask me.
It's just terrible, man.
Yeah.
It'll get better. It'll get better. We've been here before.
But so yeah, I mean, what teams do you guys think will take a step back next year?
Brooklyn.
Go down in the standings.
Brooklyn. I'm not gonna go too hard on you, Toby, but you guys are gonna stink real bad.
I don't know. We might be.
The only good thing is your boy Cam Thomas is gonna have like an official breakout season. I think he's gonna be. If he plays well enough, I think he could be like an all-star injury reserve. If somebody gets hurt, he'll be like the guy who's like, you know what? We'll throw you in there.
Yeah, I think so. So why do you think we're gonna be worse?
Is he capable of doing what
He's
he
more
was
than
doing last
capable.
year and taking over Mikal Bridges, not his responsibilities, but his scoring output as well.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
he's
yeah?
putting up 24 or 25 at least.
Is that enough, though, with what you have on that team to get you more than 15 wins?
We're gonna get like we'll get more than 15 wins.
I'll put you at 20. I'll put you at 20. You might get 20.
That's rough. I disagree with you, but I say the reason I disagree, it's hard. It'll be harder to have a worse season than last year. But in my opinion, I think the Clippers are going to have a rough season this year
Yeah.
because losing Westbrook, no more PG, and James Harden he's not capable of leading his team to the next level. We've seen it time and time again. He's going to be exposed. He has nobody else to rely on. It's going to be a bad season.
Well, not Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, he played last season at least. So, but he did pull out of the Olympics. So who knows what's going on with that? But
well, he's the load management guy, so he's not playing in the Olympics. He doesn't want any extra strain on his body.
I don't know. I do think they'll be worse, but I think they'll be fighting for a play-in spot, I think, still.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's really incumbent on Kawhi's health. I still think Kawhi is one of the best players in the league, but I don't know if he's not there. Yeah, exactly. If he's not there, then that doesn't matter. So, yeah, that was another team that I wrote down, the Clippers. I mean, I think that's, you can't. It's just tough. You lose a Paul George. I mean, that's obviously going to impact your team, regardless of who you try and replace him with. But another team I wrote down, I don't know if I even believe this because this team is always competitive, but I said the Miami Heat. Didn't really lose outside of Caleb Martin. They didn't really, I guess, lose too many players from last year's roster, but Caleb Martin I thought was a great role player for them, and he's just hit big shots, plays defense, just does a little bit of everything for them.
It's kind of a bold take.
What's that?
I think they're going to be decent.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of why I'm on the fence about it. I don't know if I really even believe what this. I don't know. I just feel like it's wrong to bet against Eric Spoelstra and what he continues to do in Miami.
You know who I'm betting against?
Who's that?
The Golden State Warriors.
Why so?
I think it's not even a matter of talent-wise. It's just the Splash Brothers have finally been broken up, bro. It's just there's going to be a different feel to a Golden State Warriors game. If you're a fan pulling up there, no more of that. There's no more of that. There's no more of that. You just got the little splash. That's all you got now. You don't get the full.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they got plenty of splashers.
They did replace Klay Thompson with Buddy Hield, so it's not all bad because I love Buddy Hield. I wish he would have been a Knick, but I feel like it's finally the fall of the dynasty. It's finally here, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have to worry about the Warriors for the next 10 years.
Don't say that, because then Steph Curry's going to have another MVP season.
No, there's no way. He can't do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of agree. I mean, I don't know. It's just I feel like it's they're trying to be competitive. They want to try and stay competitive for Steph because he's been there for his whole career. Same thing with Draymond, and they don't want to end it. But I feel like blowing it up would probably be their best course of action moving forward. But that's hard to justify when you have one of the best players of all time, probably the best player in the history of your franchise, still on the team. So,
I mean, Dirk stayed around for the Mavericks after winning a championship. He was a little bit older. He stayed around till the final day. So
Yeah.
If I were the Warriors, unless
Kobe.
Steph was like, I got to get out of here, I would keep him around until he retired.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
think he's going anywhere.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, I wouldn't like trade him or anything, but I don't know. It's hard to. It's just hard to justify, like you said. I think they finished 10th in the West last year, and they didn't even make. I don't even know if they won a play-in game. I think they lost.
Oh, yeah, they lost to,
But
I think, the Kings. I think the Kings beat them.
yeah, so I don't know. I don't expect it to get much better, but we'll see. We'll see. Anyone else? Anyone else that you think might take a step back?
Not a huge step back, but the Nuggets. You guys lost a couple nice role players, so I don't think you guys are going to be trash.
No, you're
Not by
still
any
you're gonna
means,
be
but
okay. You got the Jokic.
you guys might slide down in the standings. You might slide down like 6 or 7.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree. I think losing KCP, it sucks, but I don't know. I feel like they still have a good core. You know, obviously, Jokic, Jamal.
How about the new pickup?
Yeah, you guys
And
have
Gordon.
Russ.
Yeah, technically, I don't know if it's like official yet, but that's the expectation. Russell Westbrook to Denver, but I think I think, when he went to the Lakers, that was kind of like a big tarnish on his career. A lot of people saw him playing with LeBron and AD and didn't like what they saw, but I think when he went to the Clippers, he was like kind of better in that role, coming off the bench and just kind of providing energy. I feel like that's what the Nuggets need. And yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like a all-around guy. I think playing with Jokic just makes any player better.
Mm-hmm.
Just ask Aaron Gordon.
Hmm.
But yeah, man, it's exciting. But like you said, losing KCP, it's going to be tough to replace him. I think Christian Brown is probably going to start for them next year, if I had to guess. But yeah, you just gotta stay competitive. That's all you can do in the NBA.
Yeah, I feel like if he can like embrace the bench role, like he's one. I feel like he's one of the top guys off the bench.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And, he might finish some games for them. So, we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be an interesting season, nevertheless. All right, I think we're good. Well, I think the biggest story of the entire offseason was the player who was selected 55th overall in the NBA draft, that being Bronny James Jr. Bronny James going to the Lakers, and he's playing with his father, LeBron James. I don't know. I just figured that would be a fun conversation to have. How do you feel about Bronny getting drafted? Do you think the Lakers, like a lot of people have made it seem like it's like organizational like malpractice that they selected him with like one of the last picks in the draft. But I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, do you think he'll have a successful career? Do you think he'll play well as a rookie? Just give me your overall thoughts on Bronny.
I'll let you get her going, Toby.
All right. So I feel like this is kind of the obvious, but like I don't think he would have been drafted if it wasn't for his last name. I don't think he just put up like the numbers. But with that being said, I do actually think he might have a role like on an NBA team. I feel like if he can like learn how to shoot lights out, he's already a pretty good shooter. He's been kind of inconsistent in these summer league games, but he's had a few games, and we also can't forget that he's just 19 years old. So he's obviously very, has a lot of stuff to learn. But I feel like just the fact that your dad is LeBron James and he is one of the greatest, basketball minds ever, and he's basically coaching you through your first NBA season, I think he's going to be okay.
I do not think he'll step foot on the court his rookie year. I think he'll play in the G League his whole first season. Probably get some reps starting next season. But if he wasn't drafted to LA, he wouldn't have gotten drafted. If they didn't pick him at 55, he wasn't getting drafted at all. Might have gotten picked up, unrestricted free agent or undrafted free agent. But
You don't think he's going to step foot on a court?
I don't think so. I don't think he will. The only way is if who's even D'Lo, is D'Lo the point guard? If D'Lo is hurt and whoever the backup is just stinking or also hurt, he might get a game or two.
I think he's going to get a game just off the sheer fact that
Maybe
LeBron James is supposed to
maybe
call
end of
him
the
up.
season if
That's
they're
what I'm
not
saying,
doing too hot.
Yeah.
But I think his NBA career starts out slow. I think he starts out slow, little G League time. Probably won't even play with his dad. Be on the team, but I don't think they'll play together.
They're playing together. I can't see a world where they don't, because that would be,
I don't know. But I think when it's all said and done, his ceiling, his NBA career ceiling, and I've been saying this for a little while now, is CJ McCollum. Except I feel like Bronny has more of a defensive side than a shooting side, a floor spreading side. I think he'll be a little half, 1-1-2, combo guard type of guy. But I really like his defensive upside. There's that one play that's circulating on social media of him like dropping back like a DB on a 3-on-1 fast break and swatting the lob. Like that's a good defensive, like just hustle play. And you won't see LeBron doing that. You won't see LeBron backpedaling on a 3-on-1 fast break. So if he does play, he'll bring good energy. But the shoot, I've also been seeing on social media, they've been comparing Bronny's G League or Summer League stats to other players' Summer League stats. Almost identical numbers to Jaylen Brown, his Summer League run. So, like you said earlier, Jorie, don't put too much stake into Summer League games.
Yeah.
But that's all we've seen. That's all we've seen from him on an NBA court. So we don't know.
Yeah, no, I think it's funny you mentioned Jaylen Brown. There was like that social media thing going around. And it's lip reading, so you don't really know if he said what he said, but a lot of people think he's like, oh, Bronny's not a pro, this and that. But
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, who knows? Maybe if that's what he did say, it's just motivation that Bronny can use. But I don't know. I feel like he was on track. I feel like he was on a good track before having the heart problem when he was at USC. Like I feel like he was, a good high school player, and then like a recruit that went to USC. I feel like USC had like a bad season, so that didn't help his draft stock. Like they had him, and they also had Isaiah Collier, who was drafted by the Jazz, I believe, this year. And a lot of people like him too. And a lot of people, I think, thought he was going to go higher in the draft. But again, USC just had a really bad season. And then again, like I mentioned, the heart problem that Bronny had before the season started. So I just feel like, I don't know, everything's kind of been going against him to this point. And the fact that he's even playing at all is impressive. But just in terms of what I think he's going to look like as a rookie, I feel like he'll get on the court, just because it's, I don't know. I feel like LeBron put in all this to, I don't know. I just feel like even if it's for like 1 minute, like at the end of a game, or I don't know. I just feel like it's a lot to just not play the guy and have
LeBron said that
have
was
that
always
moment.
his like dream, like his NBA dream was to play with his son.
Yeah,
so it's gonna happen this year. Like to see, like the quicker it can happen.
But yeah, I agree with what you said, Justin. Like I like his defensive upside. I feel like that's kind of where he needs to make his mark, at least to start. Obviously he can develop an offensive game down the line, but I feel like if he can just lock in on defense and just become like really solid on that side of the ball, I feel like that'll help him kind of like establish himself in the league if possible. Because he's a really good athlete, you know. He's like a little bit undersized, like at 6'2", I guess, for I don't know what position he'll end up playing in the NBA, but I feel like he's a really solid athlete. Obviously, you know, being the son of LeBron, but he's going to be able to make some plays on that side of the ball, and I feel like that'll help him stay on the court. So I'm rooting for him. I'm not one of the guys that doesn't want to see him succeed.
I'm not a hater, but I'm also not really rooting for him. Like, if he plays well, good for him. If he doesn't, saw it coming.
Yeah. I mean, again, he was the 55th pick in the draft. Like, I don't know. This is probably the most we've ever talked about, like, as a basketball community by the guy who was selected, like, 55th overall. So, the expectations shouldn't be high, but they are because of, like, his last name. So,
that's an interesting point, though, is him and LeBron at this moment in time had two different come-ups when they were coming into the league. Everybody was LeBron's the league's savior, next GOAT. This guy's crazy, generational talent. And then Bronny's like, oh, yeah, look at this guy stinking it up in the summer league. Nobody's got any faith in him. So he can take that and flip it over and just be like, hey, man, nobody believes in me. Like, let me just go out there and do it anyway. Like, they're going to hate if I do it or not, regardless. Let me just go out there and do it anyway.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun season watching him. I feel like he's going to get called up at some point. They're going to get the highlight, the lob to LeBron from Bronny, and it's going to be like the most circulated video on basketball Twitter, Instagram, like the whole year.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's going to get replayed on SportsCenter every day.
No, it won't happen.
It's going to be fun. But, Bronny, obviously not the only rookie this year. I don't know if you guys really took in any summer league or if you just have any opinions on the draft in general, but are there any players that you're excited to see this coming season?
Two of them I'm very excited to see. And, a little biased, but the white boys are going to be hooping this year. Matas Buzelis and Dalton Connect, bro. As soon as I didn't know nothing about this guy Dalton until draft night, literally watching him get picked, I didn't know nothing about him. The 5 highlights that they showed when he got drafted, I could just tell, dog. I could just tell, dog. And LeCap James said that even before the draft, he was giving Dalton his respect. So if LeBron approves, I approve, bro. And Toby knows my boy Matas, bro. Hooper. He'll fill in the DeMar DeRozan loss just fine, I think, for Chicago.
Yeah, I don't know about just fine, like in his first year, but
well, we'll give him a couple years.
That was my pick too. That was one of my picks, one of my two.
Who, Buzelis?
Yeah, like that's just a dog. That guy will talk like your ear off and then give you buckets. He's he's basically 6'10" and has a crazy ball handle. He'll drive and dunk it, or he can shoot it. Who's my other guy? Rob Dillingham. That was my other pick. I feel like he's one of those type of guys that he's going to come into the league. He's going to have an immediate impact on his team. I think in the summer league, he already dropped a triple-double.
I don't know about that, but I did just see he had a very efficient 25-point game. Very efficient
25-point game.
Yeah.
I feel like his type of, like his player type just translates super well to make like an immediate impact.
Yeah, no, I agree. I remember watching the draft, and I was shocked when I saw that the Timberwolves traded up for him. Obviously coming off the season that the Wolves just had. They just got to the conference finals, so I wasn't thinking they're gonna, try and get a young guy, but I don't know. A lot of people are really excited. He's a fun player to watch for sure. And like Toby said, I feel like he's the type of player who could make an immediate impact, whether it be, I feel like he'll probably come off the bench to start, but who knows? Maybe he develops into their like starting point guard down the line. We'll see. But I have one. Well, I guess I got two guys, but one guy who I'm so excited to watch, and I'm just so glad that he went to the team that he did, is Zach Edey.
No, I knew.
Oh,
Dude, I don't know. I feel like watching him, especially last year, because Purdue, they got to the national championship game. They played UConn, they lost. And I just felt like the whole tournament run, people were kind of just disrespecting him. Like, I totally get it. It's like, okay, you see this like huge 7'4" dude, and I think the first instinct is like, oh, well, if he wasn't 7'4", then he wouldn't be doing what he's doing. And I'm like, well, I guess we won't know because he's not gonna not be 7'4". So like, I don't know. It's part of the advantage that he has. But I feel like not only is he gonna be one of the tallest players in the league, he's also like, I feel like has great touch around the rim. Like, he was a back-to-back player of the year in college, and like, you look at the list of names of players who went like back-to-back player of the years in college, and it's like crazy. I can't remember. I think Ralph Sampson was like one of them, like back in like the, I guess, 80s. I forget who else, but it's like all like historic Hall of Fame level centers that only did it and like no one else. And I'm not saying he's going to be like, the next Shaq or something, but I feel like, again, I think he went to the perfect team because, he has Ja, he has Desmond Bane, to set him up. So he's not going to be asked to do a lot offensively, really. And then defensively, he has some question marks because of how big he is. I feel like he's going to be okay defensively, especially. But, you have Jaren next to you, a DPOY, and I think he's going to help clean up any kind of mistakes you might have on that end. But I don't know. I feel like his job is just going to be really easy. It's just set screens for Ja and just catch the ball like within like 5 feet and just put it in the basket. That's all you got to do, big man.
Yeah, I
agree.
liked him in college a lot at Purdue, and I would have loved him. No, I don't want to hear it, Toby. I liked him at Purdue a lot, but
I hated him.
if he wasn't drafted to the Grizzlies of all teams, I'd still be messing with him. I still do mess with him. The Grizzlies are our boy Spencer's team, so I gotta hate. But it's the perfect place to be drafted for him. They needed a center just with Steven Adams going down with the surgery. He needed surgery. He's not going to play next year. He has an all NBA guard, and he's got the DPOY who can go out and guard the perimeter if needed to, leaving Edey down low. If you get by Jaren, you're meeting 7'4" Hoss at the rim. So he did get drafted into the perfect spot, I think. But we saw, he didn't get drafted as high as that guy from the Sixers way back when, before Embiid, Jahlil Okafor.
Yeah.
He got drafted a little later than Jahlil Okafor, but look at how that guy turned out. An old school back to the basket close game center. And granted, that was 10 years ago when he got drafted, but I feel like it's a very similar thing with Zach Edey. He doesn't have the range, he doesn't have the off-ball movement, so he might struggle to find his footing. But I think once he does, I think he'll be fine.
I don't know. Okafor was trash on the Nets.
That guy was trash from the day he got drafted.
That's what I'm saying. So you're comparing him to a complete bust?
That was just the first thing that came to mind, Toby. That was just
Alright.
the first thing that came to mind. In recent memories, that guy Jahlil Okafor is the only like true back-to-back back to the basket center that I could think of.
I think he's going to be okay, but I think I don't know. He has no bag. The guy has no bag.
Nah.
He's
I
going
don't
to be
know.
like a good, like decent center, like not an all-star type guy. But
Which is fine. Like I don't think he needs to be like an all-star, but
I'm talking like through his career.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like, again, I felt like he was getting a little too much disrespect, too much hate for like what he was doing. I'm like, the guy's, I don't know. Purdue's team was like pretty good last year. I mean, obviously they made it to the championship game, but they weren't like, world beaters. I don't think anyone else on that team was even like within anywhere like in anywhere's draft radar. Whereas like UConn had like two guys go in the top 10 and I think like four guys got drafted overall from their team, or maybe three. But I don't know. I just feel like, again, he's not going to be asked to do too much. And I feel like what he does and what he's going to be asked to do, he's already good at, just set screens, be big, get boards, and hit the occasional hook shot from like 5 feet. It's like, that's all you got to do. Yeah. And again, offensively, you said he doesn't have the range. Like, that's why it's nice that he's going with Jaren, because Jaren can shoot threes.
Yeah.
It's not like he's going to be like what they have in Cleveland with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, where it's like, sometimes it's the spacing isn't great because neither of those guys can shoot. But now you put him out there with Jaren, you put him out there with Desmond Bane, and whoever else you want to throw out there on the team. Like, good luck.
Yeah.
But another guy I wanted to mention really quick, who's definitely kind of made waves on the social medias, Jared McCain. Philadelphia 76ers.
Oh, God.
Everybody's favorite rookie. But unironically, I feel like he's going to be good, and I feel like he could make an impact his rookie season just because, I mean, the Sixers, like we talked about, they got Paul George. Obviously, you have Embiid, Maxey. They got Caleb Martin this offseason. But I just feel like they don't have the most amount of depth. They kind of lost a couple of guys. I know they lost like Nick Batum. They did bring back Kelly Oubre, but I feel like he could, maybe be like an 8th, 9th man, get some minutes, hit some shots. He's a good shooter. He's not the biggest guy, but I feel like he's he could be like the beneficiary of some Joel Embiid kickouts when they inevitably double the post or whatever. Tyrese Maxey driving kick type thing.
I think I actually agree with that.
I'd rather him not get any playing time.
I feel like he's one of those, it's like probably hard to see from the outside, but he's probably one of those players that all his teammates like.
Yeah.
Good locker room guy, I guess.
He seems like he is
he might be a little, fruity, I guess. But that's fine.
Hey, we might get some Joel Embiid TikTok dances coming up
soon. That's
what
I'm saying.
So.
Plus, like Jorie said, he is a good shooter. He'll find his role probably off the bench. So I think that was probably a good pickup for the Sixers.
I was gonna talk about this earlier when we were talking about the Paul George pickup, but the Sixers, dude, they might have lost a couple guys. They might have lost Buddy and Nick Batum, but they did pick up Eric Gordon, Caleb Martin, and they got Drummond back again. And I don't really remember what happened with Drummond last time he was in Philly, but if you look at it based off of the playoff series with the Knicks, if they had Drummond, they probably would have got that from us, bro. They probably would have got that series from us if they had a better rebounder for the bench unit. I think they would have took that series.
Interesting.
You know how people are always saying nowadays that teams are built to beat other teams? Like people were saying that with the Timberwolves, they were built to beat Denver.
Yeah.
I think that the Sixers are built to try and beat the Knicks.
Nah, they're not worried about the Knicks.
They should be. They should be because we built our roster to beat the Celtics. Why do you think we traded for Macau?
Well, you guys can even beat the Pacers.
I've said this a million times, and I'll say it right here on the Full Court Report. The Knicks did not lose to the Pacers. We lost to injuries, Toby. If we didn't lose our whole starting lineup against the Pacers, bro, sweep city.
That's what I said in 2021, but
Yeah.
nobody gave me any grace.
Yeah.
Nobody's trying to hear it.
Yeah.
Maybe have a smaller shoe size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. No, I don't know. It's going to be a fun season. And, yeah, man, we're back. We're back in the Full Court Report. Any, I don't know. I think that's all we got. Any closing thoughts? Any closing remarks?
Justin?
Get your team a guy like Jalen Brunson. Get your team a guy like Jalen Brunson.
If only they just grew on trees.
Get your team a guy like Cam Thomas.
He won't be taking a pay cut when it's time for that contract, Toby. I'll tell you that right now.
Ain't nothing funny. Ain't nothing funny about this year.
It's gonna be funny. It's gonna be funny when the Nets don't get 20 wins.
Damn.
All right. We're still the big brother, so.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, we're back. This is fun. I'm sure we'll be back next week. And,
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, boys. Peace.
Yeah, we'll be seeing you.